Hello everyone, JHack here, and in this Minecraft video, I'm going to be showcasing my Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie set from the second official movie. I made it fully functional with the return of one of my friends, as well as a new face to the channel, with both of them explaining each function within the map. Make sure to subscribe for the next video and any of my future projects. Similar to my FNAF 1 movie set map, this map also has many functions to it. It has a complete interior and exterior with even more complete details and background. There's a fully made river ride in the location, all of the doors function as well. There is also a complete gameplay switch where you can interact with a monitor in the office, which then could turn on certain mechanics on or off, which we will later see. Lastly, there is a fully made Showtime sequence with the Faz gang, as well as the marionette. All of the command sequences were made by my friend FNAFFan756 on YouTube. His channel will be linked down below in the description. With all that, let's begin this showcase. Beginning with the main exterior, we have the outside of the original Freddy's. I really love how I made this, as it's more colourful and different from the first pizzeria. You may also notice that it's much bigger than the real life set. This is because I wanted the inside to connect to the outside, similar to my Five Nights at Freddy's 1 pizzeria. Here, we have the pizzeria sign featuring the toys. I used armor stands to make the character models, and overall, I really like this, probably more than the Five Nights at Freddy's 1 pizzeria sign. I also used item displays for the lettering. Moving around, I used a lot of oak and jungle wood, as well as yellow terracotta to get the main wall colour for the sides. Then we have these long overhangs that go around the front. I used polished andesite and then loads of different mangrove blocks for the roof. And then we have the side walls here covering the corners. And then lastly, we have these hanging stars on the roof, which I really like. Overall, the exterior was really fun to make. If you are a fan of mine, you guys might remember my old Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie exterior on Bedrock Edition back in April.
Ew, that sucked!
Hey, shut up! Take that! So seeing this finally be fully made is really cool and exciting to see. Before we move inside, let's take a look around the background and car park. I tried to make it as accurate as possible. I used many shots from the movie, as well as some behind the scenes of the pizzeria. I used the same blocks as the FNAF 1 pizzeria, as I still really like the block choices I picked back then. Some cool inclusions of this area is that we have the spectral scoopers van from Lisa, Rob and Alex. I thought including it would make this area a little more unique. We also have this small sign which we saw back before the movie came out, despite it not even being seen in the movie. I still thought adding it would look good though. Overall, I loved the outside. I also made sure that you couldn't see the flat terrain around the build, so I made some custom trees around the whole map. A little nitpick is that in the FNAF 2 movie, the pizzeria is set in a forest, but in real life, the pizzeria is made in the same location as the first pizzeria. A big open field, you could say. To be honest, I just ignore this as I don't think many people will care. However, with all of that, let's move inside. Moving inside, we have a functional door which works the exact same way as the first movies, so I won't be explaining it. Here, we are greeted by the main entrance. We have these 3 archways which will take us into the main pizzeria room. We have all the posters which really remind me of the Chuck E. Cheese's posters, even though I've never been. Here we have the glass panel with the toy animatronics, which were made by my good friend Stripe DH, so huge thanks to him. Finally, we have the giant Toy Freddy carpet on the bottom. Overall, the entrance isn't as big as the first one, but I still really like this entrance. But now, let's move on to the main showroom of the build. Here, we have the main party room with all of its details and structures. However, due to its size, we will go around the build slowly, checking each detail as we go on. Here, we have the Balloon Boy prop, not the animatronic, just to clear that. I really like how I made this, despite how much I want to punch it in its face. We have the small shelf which has all of the balloon props which kids would be able to make their own balloon with. Straight ahead, we can see the river ride, or as it's called in the movie, the river Voyage. We will explore the river ride once we finish the outer layer of the pizzeria. Here we have some gumball machines which have been smashed and have gone all over the place. Lastly, we have some posters of the Faz gang, one with all the toys and the marionette, and then another poster of the river ride with the puppet again. Moving to the left, we have a price counter. Not as good as the first movie's price counter, but here it's still pretty cool. We have all the plushies of Freddy and the puppet, some shirts and hats, and some random junk. However, more importantly, I thought it would be really cool if we had the Faz Talker behind the counter. This model was made by RGB01, so huge thanks to him as well. Moving around, we have more posters from the game and some custom made ones like the Toy Foxy in a ball pit one. We have a small barrel here that would contain some balloons and random blue balls. Also, I like the addition of the lettering on the top with the iconic lines rock, eat, party and play. I also forgot to mention that, yet again, I used map art to help with this build to look good. Here we have the entrance and control panel to the river ride, which does fully work, so without further ado, I would like to introduce the newest member of the J Hacker gang, Evan the Eater. Go on Evan, explain how you made this.
Hello everyone, I'm Evan the Eater. I'm here to talk about how I made the river ride for J Hacker. The way this masterpiece of command blocks works is that the boat, which is made out of 3 armor stands, because who needs entity displays? There are 3 armor stands with a mango stare on their head, giving the illusion that this boat is block built instead of just being some entity display weird looking thing. But this one is a boat which can be teleported, so instead of needing to use clone commands to move the boat, we can just teleport a specific entity. We then give each armor stand a tag, and that tag is detected by a repeating command block, which will make it so combine all of the armor stands into one. And since they're all into one, it means I only need to teleport one entity in general. A scoreboard is then linked to the system, so it only powers when someone is currently in the river ride. The way the boat actually moves is a lot simpler than you think. The middle block or middle armor stand in the boat has the tag of Boat B, standing for Boat Base. And a repeating command block is detecting when a certain type of block is a certain distance below that specific armor stand. In our case, if 2 or 3 blocks below it is a yellow concrete, the armor stand will then move forward facing left, making it turn left. This isn't entirely accurate color-wise, as it was just an example, but different colored concrete will change where the boat moves. So all we need to do is repeat the same thing over and over, only changing the concrete beneath it, and where it will then face doing so. So if we change it to purple concrete, we can then make it turn left, right, forward, or backwards, wherever we actually want to move this boat. That's the best way I could explain it, but if you want more info, or just more content in general, come check out my channel now. Back to J Hacker.
Thanks Evan. Evan's YouTube channel will be in the description down below, so go check him out. Walking over here, we have all the arcade machines, which I really like how I made them. I used banners, but mainly item displays to make the arcade machines look more accurate. Speaking of accuracy, I made sure that all the arcade machine names were correct, which I was able to check from the YouTubers that went to see the movie set. We have another poster of Toy Foxy, and here we have the door, which is where Spring Bonnie lures the child during the intro sequence. We will explore there much later. Lastly, we have some more arcade machines over here, as well as another area of the river Voyage where we can see the head prop of Toy Foxy, which is a cool detail. Also, up here we have some star icons of the main 4, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, whilst Foxy's is nowhere to be seen. Before we move on to the main party room, let's quickly explore the office, as unlike the first movie, it's located within the main room. Here we have this really cool poster of Toy Freddy in a Wild West. This is really cool, but it's also a little funny to me. Moving down, we have this small area before the office. It has some signs of the river voyage, like rules of safety or something. We also have the amazing paper pals, which I used banners and custom player heads to make accurate. But anyway, let's move into the office now. Here, we have the main office from the movie, which I really like as it's really accurate to the game. Here, we have the posters of the gang, as well as both the vents and light switches from the game. Here's the exact vent where my child, the Withered Bonnie, gets a vent shut in his face. My poor child gets bullied in this movie. This is Withered Bonnie abuse. Here, we have the back of the room. We have a desk with just junk and typical office decorations. We also have the iconic mask where you can actually just click it and put it on as a helmet, since it is just an arm stand, nothing special. We have the fan and the walkie-talkies which Mike and Vanessa take in the movie. Here is the blueprint of the whole map. Here we have the iconic desk with a functional chair which you can sit on by simply left clicking or right clicking. Here we have the lamp, the phone, and most iconic soda cup. Whilst we're here, we also have the main computer terminal which has our first mechanic service map. Here, my buddy FNAF Fan 756 will explain it. Go ahead, FNAF Fan.
Hello everybody, FNAF Fan 756 back again. I will explain the gameplay mechanics that come with this glorious FNAF 2 movie map. By clicking the monitor in the office, all gameplay mechanics are turned on, except the river ride, which is always on. The first mechanic that works is being able to take off Balloon Boy's head. What a joyous sight. So he works by every minute, having BB roll a 1 in 4 chance to appear in the office, unless the gameplay is off. And when he enters the office, he starts at the end of the hallway, and then appearing behind the monitor. And fun fact, you can hear him laugh throughout the building. But to take his head off, just click his head and it comes off! And then click again to drop it. The second appearance is the mysterious Shadow Body. Shadow Body starts off by having random intervals that then when the end folder's up, Shadow Body will roll a 1 in 600 chance to appear. Then when Shadow Body appears in the office, staring at him will make him disappear. With that, most of the office mechanics have been explained.
So, with the office now shown, let's continue with this main room. Going over the bridge, we have the main room, with all of the party tables as well as the smaller ones around the room. However, the thing that catches people's attention is the giant glowing carousel. I used a bunch of different blocks from different colours of terracottas, to then different signs and walls. I tried to make it as accurate as possible, and overall I think I did a great job. Here we have Kids Cove, however we will explore it much later. However, we do have these small booths with just some random junk on them, as well as more posters and a falling banner up here. Here is a door which can take us to the utility tunnels. Now finally we have the main stage, with the stage curtains as well as the trapdoor which will lead down towards the marionette's box. There is a functional Showtime sequence, however we will activate it once we enter Backstage. Lastly, we have these two doors which look like they would lead to a kitchen or a storage area. However, we are never fully shown what's behind it. Personally, I think these doors should lead to some sort of a restroom, as there aren't any in this location. With that, that's mainly the whole party room all shown, so we can quickly explore the river ride and its details. So here we have the first part of the river ride. It's this quite nice and clean area with light blue trims and a grey wall. We don't get too much to see of it. I only got this from the YouTuber vlogs that went to see the set. So continuing down, we go past the main room under some bridges and broken down boats, and then we enter the cave system. Here we have this nice welcome sign just above the cave, as well as the puppetlings. I just used 2 custom heads as well as item display to make them. Moving inside, we have this nice but dark cave area with all of its small and creepy puppetlings. However, what I don't like, in the movie, these 2 tunnels are supposed to have loops. However, in the movie, they aren't present because due to not needing to build, as no one will ever be seen there. However, this is annoying for people like me who want to build it. So instead of doing a loop or just adding a wall in the way, I decided just to make a black void. With that shown, we can now move on to Kids Cove, which will then finish the whole main room of the pizzeria, and then we can explore the back rooms of this location. Here is Kids Cove. As you may notice, I decided to make Mangle in this area as she doesn't really have anywhere where I could put him, so I thought adding her in the roof would be cool. And as well, another gameplay mechanic is that if the gameplay is on and you walk up to him, she will grab you with all of his parts and drag you up into the roof and kill you, just like what happens to Alex in the movie. But anyway, back to the build. Kids Cove has this nice soft play area with a blue coloured ball pit and a pirate ship that kids could play in. Moving to the right, we have a poster with Mangle as well as the small spinning toy below it. And then we have what seems to be a drawing area with a small table, some lockers, and these small balloon looking lights. Overall, I really like Kids Cove over the game version, but now, with that done, we can now move on to the back rooms of the pizzeria. So, moving back to the door where Spring Bonnie lured the child during the intro sequence, we can now enter through this door. So, we have this small storage area with a garage door, some lockers, and some random junk in. This room isn't really shown in the movie, as well as the YouTuber blogs, so this room isn't fully detailed as some other rooms. So, moving on. We have these long utility tunnels. These hallways are much more colourful compared to the first pizzeria's hallways. Using cyan concrete, grey concrete, deep slate, as well as light grey concrete powder, I was able to make these hallways as accurate as possible. Moving down, we just have some random junk, candles, buttons, and some custom playheads to act as the junk that's placed around these tunnels. There's not too much unique detail in the tunnels, so let's just move on to the washroom. So, moving on to the washroom, or the kitchen you could say, this kitchen is much smaller compared to the kitchen in the first movie. I used a mix of mushroom and granite blocks, which I think look best for the flooring. Around the room we have the typical kitchen appliance like stoves, shelves with bottles and dishes, a main countertop, etc. Around here is where the child that Spring Bonnie kidnaps and lays him on the floor. Above are the giant fans which I used custom heads and made them animated. I made them animated as I think that they look better than making them block built. Moving along, we have the sink where William washes himself up. Just like my previous video, the kitchen was really fun to build, even though I didn't really explain or show most of it. However, with that, we can now move on to the rest of the back areas. So, moving down, we have another long hallway. However, there are more doors and other rooms. Here, we have some doors, but they are locked as they don't actually lead anywhere. So, moving on. Here, we have a door which connects back to Kids Cove from earlier. However, right opposite of it, we have the door that leads to the supplies room. Or, as many people will know it as, parts and service. So, let's enter. This room is definitely one of my favourite rooms as it's quite detailed with all the many boxes and shelves. Using custom player heads as the many cleaning bottles and boxes. A cool detail is that there are windows in this room, and technically in the whole pizzeria, minus the entrance one. But now, moving on to my favourite models in this pizzeria, we have the withered animatronics, Chica, Freddy, Foxy, and Bonnie. I think I did such a great job at creating each one. I got their main heads from a custom head website, whilst their bodies are made by my good friend Wallpaper. He also made the withers, and they were a huge inspiration, so shout out to him. I used armor trims to help get each detail on their bodies. For example, I used armor trims for Foxy's legs and arms to get that robotic look. Personally, my favourite has to be Withered Bonnie. Totally not because he's my favourite animatronic in this FNAF franchise. Overall, their own unique design to them, and I really like them. So now we can move on to Backstage. Here, we have a hallway that can connect back to the main room of the pizzeria. Nothing too interesting here, so moving on. Finally, we have Backstage. I really do like this room. Probably not my favourite in the entire pizzeria, but definitely a top 5. I also prefer this over the one in the first movie, as this one has more details despite being smaller. Here, we have a desk with some spare parts and gears, as well as a Toy Bonnie base plate. I assume due to the colour. Here, we have a door that would lead us to the puppet's chamber. Here, we have another desk with loads of what seems to be pipes and large machinery, and some smaller junk, as well as a garage door. As you guessed, doesn't connect anywhere, but whatever. Here we have more shelves with loads of spare parts of the toy animatronics. I believe there are some of Chica, but instead of using a block or a sign, I just used a custom head, because I'm lazy. Lastly, we have a shelf which has a spare Freddy mask on it. Now, moving up here, we have this control panel which controls the stage, Showtime sequence, and the marionette trapdoor. This area is shown at the beginning of the movie with William activating the show, and also has to be one of my favourite parts of the movie. With all this talk about a Showtime sequence, why don't I show you what we have? Take it away, William. Begin the show, go to the control panel and turn the show on with Jeff or our friends.
Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Are you ready to start the show? Are you ready to start the show? Don't forget to stay around to the very end for a great big surprise. Here we go! Count with me now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Showtime!
Meet Freddy Fazbear and his friends, Bonnie the Bunny and Chica the Chicken. I love these new models I did for the toy animatronics. Like I said before with the Withers, I used custom heads from the custom head website for their heads, and then I acquired the torso pieces from Wallpaper. Overall, these models really make the build feel unique and detailed. FNAF Fan 756 will now explain how this works.
Well, look who needs me again already. And you're right on time! I'm going to explain the Showtime sequence. It starts with the whole William Afton voice lines from the start of the second movie. Unless the gameplay is off. And then when William Afton says Showtime, the curtains open.
With that, that's mostly everything with this pizzeria. Oh wait, how could I possibly forget? The marionette. Pressing this control panel here will activate the puppet, and she will slowly rise onto the stage, until she gets to an exact position in the main area to where she will stop, and remain standing there until someone turns her back off again. Finally, we can now move on to the last room of this build. Moving through this door from earlier, we enter a storage room with a dark tunnel with a flight of stairs that lead to an unknown area. Moving past these deep slate iron ore and tough brick walls, we finally access a tunnel with a door at the end. Opening the door, we enter the heart of the pizzeria, the Marionette's Chamber. The Marionette's Chamber is a dark industrial room hidden deep below the pizzeria. This space feels more like a storage vault than anything meant for kids. with exposed gears, pipes, and heavy metal walls closing in around the center, which I used a mix of bricks and granite blocks. A large blue present box with a purple ribbon sits ominously under a cold overhead trapdoor, which leads to the stage above. Below the present box is a small music box, where in the movie it's kept there to keep Charlotte, aka the marionette, asleep. Overall, this room is really different compared to what's above, and I really hope I was able to catch the same atmosphere just like the movie. However, with that room now done, I have now shown my fully functional Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria from the second Five Nights at Freddy's movie set. I really like how Blumhouse designed the pizzeria. Comparing it to the first pizzeria in the first movie, you can really see how different they are. Like, don't get me wrong, I loved making the first movie's pizzeria as it was really fun to make. However, I think I preferred making this pizzeria as there's more charm to it. The download will be in the description down below on Planet Minecraft for Java players to play. As I've said before, I've enjoyed making this map and I'm really happy that this is now done. Here are some old screenshots of my old Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie set. These were made when the second official trailer released. Looking back at it now, I'm glad I was able to redo it and improve upon it to this. Since I've now finished both movie sets, I plan on finishing my Secret of the Mimic map, as despite the game being out for almost 7 months now, I still want to get it fully built and maybe add some gameplay features. Speaking of gameplay features, I would like to shout out my 2 command friends, FNAF756 as the main command man for all of this functionality, and Evan the Eater for making the river ride for me. Both of their channels will be in the description down below. Make sure to subscribe to this channel when my next video comes out. Leave a like and comment down below to be notified when I continue my Secret of the Mimic series. Also, join my Discord server to get exclusive perks, fun chat, and information on my next video. I hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.
Wait, Jayhacker, when am I getting paid?
Oh well. Bye!